Hi guys, so today's video, just going to run through some comments as well as questions. So we start off with Palani Appen, who commented on my Ponteng on a Ponteng Kerja go kart video. Aga, excuse me, Aga. Sorry guys. Okay. So Palani Appen commented that the FD2R pasang that spoiler does increase aerodynamics or decrease it. Why is this comment in my go-karting video? I suppose you're referring to the what you call that, to the rear spoiler of the FD2R, and I would believe you. I would believe you because you see the FD2R was the ethos behind the FD2R's construction and design is that it is a very focused, it is a car that's very focused for track use, right? A lot of reviewers, a lot of critics have commented that the FD2R is a way more extreme car than the European version of the Type R at the same time, which was the FN2R. So if you tell me that spoiler that Honda put on the FD2R is aerodynamically functional, I totally believe you on that. Okay, Shaz Koi asked about the go-karting video, right? Where is this track located? That is that's our new clubhouse at Sunway Traction Karting. You can find a location on Waze. Okay, those of you who are familiar with Kelana Jaya, Petaling Jaya area, it's near Sunway Serene. It's next to the former Western Digital factory. Okay, so so drop by there. I think they are reopening for business. So yeah, I mean, go there, have some fun, and honestly, I think if you're talking about sporting activities, go-karting is probably safer in the current climate than most other sports because there is automatic social distancing, between you and everybody else in other go-karts. That's one thing. Okay, and what you call that, and it's also a very physically demanding exercise. You have all that vibrations and all that. It is very demanding on your physical strength, so don't underestimate the effectiveness of go-karting as a physical exercise. Now, Daniel Wong asked, Kai-Kon, please advise me which car is the best choice for daily use. BMW 328i GT 2016, BMW X1 2017, Mazda UK. You typed out Mazda 2.2 all-wheel drive 2018. I'm going to assume you're talking about the CX-5 because that's the only Mazda diesel with all-wheel drive. Okay, the 2.2 refers to the diesel engine. They are quite similar price, which is below 150,000 ringgit. So, well, these three are very disparate choices. They are very different type of choices. So, they are totally not in the same segment of car. But the fact that you narrow it down to these three choices, I assume that you have family consideration. You want something with a big boot, maybe to carry stroller or something like that. You prefer a tall ride height, all right, which is why even the 328 GT, you are also looking at a 328 GT rather than a 328 F30. So yeah, in this, all three cars are all right. Okay, they are good choices. But if you have to choose between these three, the first option I would eliminate is the X1. Why? Okay, simply put, the X1, there is nothing the X1 can do that the CX-5 cannot do. And the CX-5 here gives you all-wheel drive, gives you a more powerful engine. It's just as practical inside. The X1 is a pretty practical vehicle, okay, I have to say. I would say may even be more luxurious feeling inside. The interior construction of the CX-5 is at the very least up to par, if not built to a higher standard of construction than the X1. So if you were to choose between X1 and CX-5 diesel, it's an easy choice. I would go for the Mazda diesel. Now, then you may ask, right, then what else does the X1 offer? BMW badge. Then again, so does the 328 GT. So you see, the X1 is the only car here in which all its unique selling points are covered by the other two options. Okay, with the 328, you of course probably get the best dynamics of the lot. Okay, rear wheel drive platform, no less practical, and the ride height is higher than that of a standard 3 series, but not as high as an SUV. So if you talk about driving, what you call it, driving enjoyment, handling, right, the 328 of course will give you the best of it. Now, of course, being the 328 GT also being 4 years, closing to 5 years, it will have the shortest amount of warranty left. Whereas the 2018 Mazda CX-5 still has 3 years of warranty. I believe still has 3 years of free servicing. So in this combo, right, when you analyze all these factors, and I'm assuming you're looking at it from a family man point of view, the CX-5 is the most convincing proposition of these three picks. Okay, but the other two, they are also all right, but the CX-5 is just the most convincing car if you're buying this for family use. Right, so Chow said, hey, I spotted myself in this video. Thank you for coming. See you for the next one. All right. Faref's Dins, go-karts about weight transfer, you kurus, you menang. You're right. Well, but that's not really weight transfer, that's just weight. That's just how to weight. Let's see. Rolly Chanel asks, I really love the way you review a Honda Civic City Hybrid. This is a comment on my City Hybrid review. Where you got your great mic? Could you suggest one for me? Thank you in advance. Okay, for the driving shots, for the driving parts of the video, I was using my phone. Okay, and for the walk around part, I was using a DJI Osmo that Bobby gave me at that time, but I've since returned to the company for other members of the team to use. So currently I am using a Sony FDR 4K camera that is now undergoing warranty claims. And with that camera, I also use it in conjunction with a wireless Bluetooth mic. Okay, so this is the receiver half of it. There's also the microphone half of it, which I can't seem to find. Where is it now? But it looks basically the same. So that's the one that I clip here on my t-shirt. I speak, this is the one that receives. It goes, this one will plug straight into the camera. Okay. So Cheng Yi Chong commented on my F8 Tributo review. The car is only one mode. It does seem like a compliment the ability to drive like a daily driver, occasionally crazy enthusiasm. It has several drive modes, but I was driving it in sport mode. That's the default mode and the most suitable mode for road use, because you dial it further, it's track. It's a track or race mode. You dial the other end, it's wet mode. So severely reduce power outputs, of course, in order to maximize traction in slippery roads. So I don't think we want to do that.
but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence.
Zalrashad Zalfitri also commented in the Tributo video, if I had the money, I'd take the Huracan Evo any day with its naturally aspirated V10. If you ask me, I'd take a naturally a large capacity naturally aspirated car any time of the anytime. Okay, but in this case, Ferrari is going with the times. They are giving us a 3.9 liter V8 twin turbo that, yeah, it lacks a bit of that naturally aspirated drama, that sense of occasion. But in terms of response, at least, you know, when you put your foot down on the throttle, the engine responds almost with the immediacy of a naturally aspirated engine. So I think they have done a fabulous job with the tuning there, and yeah, they're just going with the times. So Jerem's production for F430 still looks amazing till this day. Absolutely, yeah. I think the 430 is really one of my my favorite modern Ferrari designs. Yeah, that 430, lovely looking car. It doesn't feel that car doesn't seem to have aged, right? Despite it being, how old is the F430? Oh my god, the F430 was launched in 2004. The F430 is 16 years. It doesn't. It still looks the part today, to be honest. All right, doesn't look a day older than 4 or 5 years old. It's still a very lovely looking car. And Khairuddin Ibrahim commented on one of my past videos, in which I asked how much does it cost owning an E39 versus a brand new BMW. He said, E39 is the best car I've ever driven. Can't compare with other Malaysian car. This car is really for those who really love to drive and people who love their car. Absolutely no contesting on that. Just took the car out for a drive just now. Strapped my daughter in. That, yeah, I'm now one of those parents, right, that put my kids in the car, go out, drive until they sleep, then come home. Yeah. So, but yeah, I had a lovely drive. Drove from here, made one round around KL and came home. Yeah. Sleeping like a baby now. So Desmond Chong asked in my review of the 6 Series Gran Turismo, why is there so many 2019 model in the resale market now? Is there anything wrong with the CKD car? Please advise. There is nothing wrong with the CKD car, but I believe these are pre-registered cars from the dealership. So go. I mean, if you stumble into one of these, you think it's a good deal, go try your luck. Maybe these cars probably just have 3 digits on the odometer. They may not even have left the showroom. Yeah. I think it's probably pre-reg cars. SK Leo, been driving petrol cars all my life. Last year I decided to get a diesel guzzler. Guzzler is not a term we usually use for diesel engines. Best decision I've ever made. You should try once in your life. I know people who tested diesel and now go back to petrol, but there are people who tested diesel and go back to petrol. Well, I believe that the characteristics of a diesel car is not for everybody. I heard of people who what you call it, who opted against diesel engines because of either the noise or the smell. To me, the smell is a bit of a concern, but the noise doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, the thing I like about diesel cars is that you get that strong torque, strong low end torque. The fuel consumption, of course, you don't have to refuel the car as frequently as a petrol engine. Yeah, I'm one of those guys who I don't like to go to the petrol stations to refuel the car so often. So I usually would, every time I refuel the car, I refuel to the brim, and then I will just drive the car until like left a quarter tank. Then only I refuel one shot. So to me, maximizing that range between refueling, that is something that I look into, and that is why cars with bigger fuel tanks appeal to me because I don't have to refuel as often. Paul Chung, is there any way to preset a Passat to start with engine start stop off and aircon recirculation and recycle without voiding the car warranty? I don't know actually, but you can try your luck to dive through the menus in the touchscreen. But I believe that the engine start stop, I believe most most of the time default they will the auto start stop will be on as standard, okay, because that is I think Volkswagen's way of complying with regulations in Europe, okay. So you there is that extra effort needed on you to press the off. Aircon circulation, see the Europeans, usually European cars, right, default the aircon will set into ventilating mode, and it's something that I never understood why until last year when I brought my family to Vienna, to Austria in the winter, and as we were driving in winter, typically, right, we will set our, one of the first things that we do when we drive a European car is that we will set the climate control to recirculating mode. But as I was driving in the Vienna weather, especially on the highway, I noticed that the glass just kept fogging up, and it was after I set the disabled recirculation and let air in, that was when the glass just cleared, and that immediately, that moment I understood, oh, so that is why these European cars always default to ventilation mode as opposed to Japanese cars that allow you to just lock the car in recirculating mode. Okay, Zidek asks, what's the difference between brake horsepower and horsepower? What's the horsepower for the current W213 E250? To answer your second question first, the E250 produces 211 horsepower, but Mercedes-Benz globally, they have discontinued this engine variant. So it's a choice between E200, E300, and then the next jump would be the E350 if you're looking at the 4-cylinder models. After that would be the E53 and E63. Now the difference between brake horsepower and horsepower is that in terms of number they are the same, but brake horsepower is measured at where is it again? At the flywheel, at the engine flywheel. So this is the engine. When it come out here before the transmission, this is where brake horsepower is measured. Okay, then of course you or that's where you say measure at crank. The other, sometimes when you especially when you go to dyno shops, right, they talk about wheel horsepower. Wheel horsepower is when this whatever let's say 200 brake horsepower that you produce from the engine, right? So 200 brake horsepower that you produce the engine goes to the transmission to then that 200 horsepower have to overcome all the inertia within the transmission, overcome all the fluids, the friction in the transmission. So there's some losses there. Then from the transmission it comes up to the drive shaft. That drive shaft has weight. To turn that weight off the drive shaft, there is more losses there and friction as well. So when you reach the wheel of the wheel and you measure the horsepower there versus what is your brake horsepower, there is a difference. So when they say brake horsepower, it specifically refers to what is the horsepower output of your car coming out immediately from the engine before it even goes into the transmission. Okay, so Han, honestly, there's just not enough info out there regarding the Inspira. Seems like a very nice car to have, even though you can only get it secondhand now. More reviewers should show affordable great cars such as this. Looking forward to Inspira video. Yes, okay, I will make that next. In the meanwhile, Nas has made a very informative video of the Inspira on his channel. Go check that out. Vincent KC, what's the car model requirements to tackle the narrow 1800 corners? Wait for our page, but basically it's the same qualifying criteria as we did with previous enduros. So certain configuration of cars automatically qualify. If you drive a coupe, you drive a cabriolet, you drive a you drive something with pop-up headlights, you drive an engine with a supercharger, automatically qualify. Air-cooled, automatically qualify. Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Volvo, Saab, all these brands, enthusiast brands, automatically qualify. Yeah, so it's the same criteria that we have from previous years, so you can refer back to our previous year qualifying criteria. But we are making one change. We are allowing SUVs or MPVs above 200 horsepower if you bring a family of 4 people. So if they are, let's say like you have 4 or 5 of you, you can't fit everybody in your Audi R8, then yes, by all means come in your MPV. Okay, but because this is enduro, we have to put a bit of a qualifying criteria there as well. So only MPVs with output of more than 200 horsepower will be accepted. Raymond Cheong, what do you think of the BMW 5 Series 2021 which just announced? Also, do you think the price will increase as the new 5 Series compared to the current one? I believe it's inevitable. I think it's from the outside looks like a nice car, and I believe BMW, they would have done their homework. They would have refined this car very thoroughly. The looks of the car, I think it was good of them to not go overboard with the front grille, because that new enlarged front grille, right? I think the X7 wears it very well. 7 Series not so much. So I think they have been they have been sensible in the way they tweak the looks of the car. For now, I'm still more used to seeing the pre-facelift model. Yeah, I'm sure it will be a better car, but I think right now, to my current taste, the pre-facelift model looks nicer. Yeah, and hopefully when they launch in Malaysia, they will bring in the 6-cylinder model as well. That will be lovely. Okay. James Gunn. Earlier heard many upkeep of the BMW E39, own one unit 525 2002 till today, had changed one used transmission gearbox due to oil seal leaking, changed one long shaft, original silver, intend to let it go, changed most of the defect parts including DISA valve. Okay, you changed head gasket. Wow, okay. Where do you do your head gasket change? Because the last time I spoke with my mechanic, he doesn't reckon if your head gasket condemned, right, he will tell you to change engine straight away one. So would like to hear more from you. Okay, coolant tank, water pump. So now only remaining the LED dot, some missing dot in the console meter, aircon compressor change, alternator change. Well, you've done quite I think you have did quite a bit of maintenance in there. So this guy is letting his E39 525 go at 20k. I think worth, your car is definitely worth checking out. All right, do pop by the do send us pictures on Aurizn or Evo Club Facebook, and show us your ride. Okay, maybe we can help you. We can help link you up to a potential buyer. I know a lot of people ask me recommendations for E39. So Beng Hong, estimated cost of full trip for Enduro. We are still working on that number. We'll get back to you on that. Okay, Chi Kun Ong. I disagree. BMW cannot build cars to challenge the like of Bentley, Aston Martin, or Mercedes in the higher range bracket. Don't forget BMW owned Rolls-Royce, which built the most luxurious car in the world. Mercedes tried to challenge Rolls-Royce by reviving the Maybach brand, but failed miserably. Recently, Mercedes tried to bring back Maybach using the S-Class platform, using high quality materials, but it is practically an S-Class. Why would anybody in their right mind want to pay so much more for an S-Class with a Maybach badge? I think BMW is moving in the right direction to bring the brand a step higher to challenge established brand in the higher price range. Now, you see, the thing is that I'm not talking about BMW in a technical sense. In terms of their car building competence, of course, they can build a car to the quality of Bentley and Aston Martin. I mean, and like what you highlighted, BMW owns Rolls-Royce, and that's precisely the point. You see, the thing is that there is no way BMW can build a car that wears the BMW badge and compete against the Rolls-Royce at the same price point, okay, and people and people will choose the BMW. Somehow they can't. There is just that brand identity and positioning about BMW in which they cannot. They are very good when it comes to the 3 Series, the 5 Series, maybe even the X Series models. But when you go into the really ultra luxury segment, that stratosphere, the BMW brand just somehow, it doesn't carry that same kind of brand cachet. Yeah. So in terms of their capability to produce the car, of course they can. But whether they build, let's say like a BMW 10 Series, right, with the same price and quality and price point as a Rolls-Royce, not sure if that would. I'm not sure if that would work at all. Yeah, not sure of that. Boy London, my wife is fanatic about smart for 4. But whereas Mercedes, the Maybach experiment was not very successful. But you see, Mercedes churn out the Project One, what, 8-figure price tag, and people don't bat an eyelid at buying it. Somehow, the Mercedes brand is able to transcend, its transcend class better than its other German luxury brands. You see, whereas BMW and Audi, they are both locked in a very specific niche in the premium segment. Whereas Mercedes, the Mercedes brand has that freedom to go above, okay, and they also have that freedom to dip themselves to the A class, the CLA, B class, even make lorries, make buses. But Audi and BMW, they can't. They just can't. Boy London, my wife is fanatic about Smart 4442. Asked not to buy as not widely used here compared to Europe. Yeah, sourcing of parts may not be straightforward, but hey, could be cheap in the used car market. Okay, Sudunano replied, carrying on from my earlier comment, his family drives a Range Rover Evoque, and yours is a year 13 Evoque 6-speed. Regarding S60 rear space, if you thought Germans are bad, the G70, you mean the Genesis? Yeah, is even tighter in the rear. Really weird door opening and rather awkward door opening. Door trim also obstructs entry as well. And regarding the F10, none got the power boot in the pre-LCI. At least the LCI had keyless entry, and reverse camera was an option in up to the 2016 update that included connected drive live services. But here's the funny thing, the E60 520D had reverse camera. Yeah. Reverse camera was available in the 535 pre-LCI. But yeah, the 520, 523 and 528 didn't have. Drew Xiang asks, what's the difference between UK and JDM spec GTR? Well, I'm not sure because the GTR has been in production for more than a decade. Of course, there'll be some minor differences here and there. The speedometer is one, right? The UK specs would have miles per hour speedometer. Probably different climate. Some materials are different to account for the difference in climate. but I think to drive they are more or less the same. I don't think that the difference between them are significant. So, but of course, if you ask me, if you were to buy a GTR, I would recommend that you buy a Japan spec rather than a UK spec car, right? Because the Japanese tend to take care of their cars better, and Japanese car manufacturers also tend to keep the best stuff for their own domestic market. So if you're buying a GTR, unless it's a very very good deal, or it has a very unique type of specification, go for a Japan spec car. Right. Okay. So that's all the question and answers that I have for today's video. So do stay tuned for our next video. This coming week, we have a bit more things to share. A bit more. There's a few launches coming up this week, so it wouldn't be just sitting at home doing Q&A for us. And yeah, we'll be furnishing you guys with more updates upcoming on Evo Enduro as well.